How we doing, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of FSI's PGA DFS Picks. I am your host, TK Nation 47, joined by John Cool 19. We're breaking down the Valspar Championship. John, we took last week off, kind of recharged our batteries, had a little break. Usually it's a DraftKings break for the wallet, but DraftKings instead wanted to go ahead and go through with a team event for DraftKings. It was okay. We played a little bit, but definitely very light last week. But any luck last week? And are you ready for some Valspar Championship?
Yeah, I invested very, very little. There was no contests over on Yahoo either, which I play a lot there. So it wasn't a heavy week for me. Kind of an underwhelming event in general, in my opinion. Certain people like it. If you're all about Team South Africa or Team Australia or something like that, I could see getting behind this event. But for me, it is just not something I focused on. Had a little bit more success over in playing just some showdowns versus the week-long classic, which I just about faded the whole thing. So I'm excited for Valspar and to get going with a better event here for DraftKings and winning some money. So that's what I'm all about.
Amen to that. Yeah, the team event was okay, but not my kind of jam. I actually focused more on Euro last week and actually had a really good lineup. Been following the Euro Tour, the LPGA Tour, Corn Ferry Tour a lot closer this year. Been playing those DraftKings lineups, and if you want to find those core lineups and my player pool, you can find our Discord on our Twitter handle at FSI_DFS. We do core lineups, we do model rankings, and free advice for you guys in the chat. So I say make the best of it along with this video and subscribing to our awesome channel. And you can do all that on our Twitter handle. Okay, enough of the plugs. Let's get into some picks. Valspar Championship. We have a tight tree lined course. This is one of the harder Florida courses. Ball striking is going to be a premium, and I am picking one of the hottest with the irons. That is Jason Kochrack. 8,700, 35 to 1. When I started doing research, he was 40 to 1. He's already getting bet down, so I think public is pretty heavy on Kochrack this week. I think that 87 price tag is a really good DraftKings price as well. He's got good course history with a second and an eighth in his last two. 13th in greens gained, so he's gaining really well, getting to the greens, making putts too. He's 5th in putting and 12th in that par threes, a stat that we were looking at with 5 of them on this course. So I do like him for all that was mentioned. Course form or recent form is pretty decent too. A 9th at the Players, 9th at WGC. Both courses were in Florida, so going and rolling with the Cleveland guy, Jason Kochrack. Let's go. Who do you got?
I like it a lot. And you kind of alluded to it a little bit there. The 5 par threes makes this course really unique. We're definitely looking at par 3 scoring this week more than we ever would. I'm not saying it's hugely weighted, but more important than it would be on other weeks. But the par 5 scoring, this is a difficult course. There are still 4 par 5s out there. That is where we're going to be able to get birdies. So looking at guys really that can just score well on those par 5s. It's super critical this week. And then the bogey avoidance as well. This is a difficult course. There's going to be a lot of big numbers. The cut's probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of like +1, +2. It could be as high as +4 if the wind really kicks up. So bogey avoidance big. I'm looking at really about at the top of the Vegas odds here, Corey Connors. I'm seeing him really like 2nd, 3rd, 4th, somewhere in there on the Vegas odds, but he's 7th in DK pricing. He's actually 13th in Yahoo pricing, so a huge value over there on Yahoo, but I like everything about Corey Connors this week. The form is really, really good. He's just been he's got 5 straight top 15s, and he only has 1 missed cut since October, so you're not going to find much better as far as form goes right now. He is an elite ball striker. He's number 1 over the last 36 rounds ball striking. He's also number 1 greens in regulation and good drives gained out of this field. He's 3rd on that par 5 scoring we talked about. He's number 1 tee to green. There's a whole lot to like here. What isn't to like is the putting, but this week is one of those weeks where, although I factor it in just a little bit, it's not as critical to be a great putter on this course. It's really all about that second shot, and then around the greens, because a lot of guys are going to miss. So Corey Connors, I think, is an excellent option in this range. He has only played Valspar once. That was in 2018, and he finished 16th. So I will take that. A lot to like here on Corey Connors. And then just a little shout out. I really like Hatton this week. I think he's a great option up top. The price is fantastic on DraftKings. I think he's a really, really good option too. That's just kind of a tick down from those guys, JT, DJ up at the top. I think Hatton and these two that we talked about are great ways to go. And I think really if you were playing cash, you might be able to start with these two on your lineup and build from there. I haven't played around with it, but that's very possible.
Yeah, I haven't begun to build the lineups, but I was certainly thinking to myself while we were going through this, Corey Connors, Kochrack, probably a decent way to start cash game lineups. And you can kind of balance out a roster there or a lineup that you can kind of feel good about because, as we get on here, we're going to talk about value. And this is a tougher DraftKings price I've seen in a while. You have the Masters, it's kind of like a looser pricing difference, and then the RBC was kind of littered with some easy prices, whether they made the cut or not, Pat and Kazire. but there was still some really easy builds, and this week looks tough. So let's get into some values, guys that we're going to be looking at that are going to help fill out our lineups. I kind of went a little bit GPP here with some of my picks. Keegan Bradley at 7,900, 80-1. I actually think that's a pretty fun number to bet. If you're feeling up to Keegan Bradley, definitely bet. If you're betting him to win a tournament, always bet him first round leader. This is the infamous Keegan Bradley first round leader 2 missed cut event. This is how we have coined the phrase full Keegan. So this tournament holds special place in the DFS industry's heart. But he is third on the approach, third tee to green, and fourth ball striking in this field in the last 50 rounds, and eighth in fairways gained, which is pretty critical. As we talked about tree-lined fairways, it's really pivotal to keep yourself in the fairway. Keegan Bradley does a lot of that. You're going to be hitting a lot of irons off the tee with these dog legs. So I think Keegan, with that awesome stat that he has going in his last 50 rounds, I'm pretty confident in him. The only downside is you had talked about with Connors is his putting. Keegan's 10 times worse. Keegan, if Keegan Bradley loses one stroke putting, he might win the tournament. If he loses anything closer to -3 or 4, he's going to finish inside the 20s, the 30s. And if he loses anything over 5, it's a miscut. So, that's kind of your Keegan Bradley breakdown. 29th at the Players and 10th at API suggests he's got some Florida form. Did finish 23rd at the Valero. And then last week, he was, I believe, inside the top 11 as we had T11 and ties. I believe that was with Brandon Steele. He was playing really well. I played him throughout the weekend. So don't mind Keegan. And then my second pick here for value is Doug Gim at 7,300, 100-1. Probably not a bet. I haven't seen him showcase that winning upside, but he had that good run at I believe was the Players. Doug Gim was playing well, and then he shot like 7 over on Sunday and kind of just wiped away what was going to look like a really good number on form, and he finished 29th. But Gim is 8th on the approach, 8th tee to green, and 15th ball striking. 17th fairways, kind of following the same format I did with Keegan Bradley as far as statistics and why I liked them. And he's 20th in par 3s. I thought that was really cool to see for a guy that hasn't golfed that much. This is his first look at a really tough course. That's always reason to be cautious, and I think it's going to be a good GBP play. What are your thoughts on those two gentlemen, and how about some of your value plays on your end?
Yeah, I love the Keegan pick. I think he might go a little bit under owned here. Just there's some other guys in that range that I think will gravitate that'll grab some of that ownership. But Doug Gim, I think you're right about the outright win pick and to avoid it. But really, like a top 10 or a top 20, you're not going to get the best odds out there necessarily. But I think that's a great option is to pull him in as a top 20 bet. I think that has a really good chance of winning this week. I like Doug Gim also. For me, value plays, pretty much no surprise at the top. I pick Matthew Nee Smith all the time. This week, he's at 7,100. The odds are a little steep on him, 175 to 1. I don't know that he's going to be able to win this event. I think last week, coming off of the missed cut, he was paired up with Chase Seifert. I think that'll kind of dampen his ownership a little bit. He tends to creep up because the stat models just love this guy. So I'm going to keep hammering him, even though he had the miscut last week. I will take that. This is his first time teeing it up at the Valspar, but he does have 3 top 20s already in 2021. He had a few more back in the swing season. So he can kind of get it done at that price. Top 20 would be a fantastic finish for your DraftKings line. Like I said, I think it's a bounce back spot, and the stats just back that up. Second in greens in regulation, 14th ball striking. He is 14th on par 5s. Very, very accurate driver. He is 3rd on good drives gained, 6th on approach. I think of all the guys we're kind of touting here so far today, just about all of them have been top 15 ball striking or on approach, one or the other or both. So kind of see where our focus is this week. It's pretty obvious. So Nee Smith, I like him a lot, but Charlie Hoffman, I think, is going to be a guy that's going to be much, much more popular. 8,600, he's at 45 to 1 odds. The form is just awesome here for Charlie. He's made 11 out of his last 12 cuts. He has 3 top 25s here at the Valspar, so the course history is good. Just looking at his last 7 events, he has 3 top 10s. I think people are going to really hone in on that, especially if you're just looking at logs like a lot of people do on DraftKings. Hoffman is a guy that people are just going to click on because of the name and the logs. But really, his stats are awesome here. He is number 2 ball striking over the last 36 rounds, 4th tee to green. He's top 10 on those par 3s, 11th greens in regulation. So there's a whole lot to like here about Charlie Hoffman this week. I will probably just eat the ownership there. I think he comes off as a great cash play along with those kind of those favorites we talked about. I don't know that I would go Nee Smith on a cash lineup. Just 175 to 1 odds tells you a lot about what Vegas thinks. I think he has a chance to top 20, could really pay off for your DraftKings. I probably won't find my way to him in cash, though. What do you think about these guys?
I think Hoffman for cash is really strong. Definitely going to follow this balanced format as far as a cash lineup and try to squeak in Hoffman, Connors, and Kochrack, and then see where what that kind of leaves me with. And I know for a fact I'm going to have to pick somebody in this low 7 range. I thought Nee Smith would be a decent option given the ball striking, but definitely need somebody that knows how to finish. But if you want to get into that kind of discussion with us, you can, like I said, follow that link in the bio for the Twitter handle at FSI DFS, and we're always available for chatting it up or leave a comment below. Definitely check these comments out and love interacting with you guys. But for the value plays, I think that pretty much settles it. We can talk some sleepers here. I'm going to talk a little bit about a guy named Peter Uihlein. Probably not a guy a lot of people have heard of, but he did win on the Korn Ferry Tour 2 weeks ago. This is a guy that has made a living over on the European Tour for most of his career. He is American. He's actually, I think, priced up too much for me on DraftKings, but so I probably unfortunately have to lower my ownership. I was really hoping to play him in the low 6s and maybe have a little bit of higher number, but at 7,300, it's going to really dampen my ownership on him as far as how many lineups I play with him. But he's a guy T3 last week with Richie Winruski. I thought that was really impressive. That's how he gained entry into the field. He's kind of just riding a really hot streak, and I think he can carry it over. 22nd at the Corrales Punta Cana and a 39th at the Puerto Rico Open. So he does play the swing events for the PGA Tour, and I think a really solid top 10. And Peter Uihlein could find himself in more PGA Tour events because he is trying to get his card. I like guys that are motivated, especially mid-season. Definitely not someone I'm scared of, and I hope you guys play him. I think he can be all right. Well, what are your thoughts on him, and who is your sleeper of the week?
Yeah, I like the form there, and you bring up a good point. Just kind of back to what I had said on Hoffman about looking at the DK logs. If you look at that, you may or may not, I don't know if you'll see that Korn Ferry Tour win on there.
No, it won't show.
The Zurich will probably pop up on there, but it's just not something that people are thinking about quite as much. with the team-based event. So I do like that. For me, kind of down in this range, I went with Tom Hoey. He is only at 7K this event, 150 to 1. Maybe I shouldn't say only. I think if he was priced down just a little bit, he's at 7K. Nee Smith at 7,100 was 175 to 1 odds. So I think if you're looking at just odds, Hoagie be a much better bet there than your Nee Smith. But that being said, the form is really good here for Hoagie. He's got 3 of his last 4 events. He's got top 25s. So I will take that for somebody at the bottom of 7K. He's number 12 on approach, and he's top 40 greens in regulation, par 5 scoring. So quite a bit to like here on Hoagie. Just a tidbit, he's the guy who gave me tickets to go to the 3M a couple years ago. So kind of a homer pick, if you will, in that regard. But really, he's a guy that pops up quite a bit in the leaderboards. I think he would be a great first-round leader bet. I haven't had time to, I haven't seen any of the tee times come out, but if he shows up as an early morning guy on day 1, I would be all about the first-round leader on Hoagie. This guy can play golf, and somebody that he's just always under-owned on DraftKings, just always. So
yeah. Hoagie's never over like 5-6%. I think that's a really strong play. Really, I think we've really put up a really good base of players here for everyone to follow. A lot of, probably low ownership, some high ownership, but I think everyone here is really strong and ball striking, really fits this build for the Valspar Championship well. Pretty excited. Going to be building 150, and I'm looking forward to it. But we can get into some one and dones. No one and dones last week with the team event. I believe the week before I had Matthew Fitzpatrick finish T3 or T4 for the RBC Heritage. That bumped me up 200 spots. I mean, it's better than nothing, but certainly still looking for my winner.
I moved the right direction as well after last week, so not a significant jump, but I will take the increase in my rankings there. I'll go Corey Connors this week. I really like him. I think he's probably going to be super popular, but I'll just eat it. I think he's got a great chance to finish top 2 or 3 at this event. I don't know if he will win it outright, but I think if Paul Casey can win this, so can Corey Connors. So give me Corey.
Yeah. I was actually thinking about playing Paul Casey, and I had saved him for the Valspar, but I'm going to roll with my favorite play in Jason Kochrack. I think him, Casey, Connors, Hatton are going to be really popular picks this week. And that's fine. You could take a popular pick. If you think he's going to win, play it. I don't think you should overthink it. I'm just going with the gut feeling here on Kochrack. I hope he can pull it out. I might even lay some money down and really jinx myself. But that'll do it for us. Yeah. And that'll do it for me. Anything else to add?
No, I think that's it. Just like you said, really super pumped for this week's event. And I think this might be a great week for showdowns for us. This is often a very windy course, unpredictable when it comes to that. At this point in time, we're not going to know exactly what the winds look like, but I think come Wednesday night, we might have a good opportunity for a wave advantage on Thursday. And then again, really through each day this week, we'll just kind of see how it shakes out. My early look yesterday showed wind basically every single day. We've got rain coming in at least 1 or 2 days. So the weather is going to play a factor this week. I did put a bit of the strokes gained in windy conditions into my modeling. I think I might end up ticking that up just a little bit depending on what things look like on Wednesday. But yeah, this is going to be, in my opinion, one of those weeks where our Discord subscribers are really going to have an advantage when it comes to looking at the wave stacking and things like that on Showdown versus some other weeks.
I couldn't say it better. Very well said. Looking forward to Showdown as always, and you can find core lineups from us, as I said, in the Discord. And we do Showdown weekend lineups, so you follow along all week. Videos will come out later. I'm thinking about doing a Euro. I have not decided, but definitely going to be doing some cores and some research tonight. All right, well, that'll do it for me. John, thank you for chiming in. I couldn't agree more. And good luck, everybody, and like the video, and see you later on this week.
Let's have some green screens.
That's right.